Alright, how's everybody doing today? Quick peek around the lake. We got our pelicans out over there. There's a few other birds hanging there with them. Pretty hot and peaceful so far today. I just wanted to comment on a few things that I saw on the news yesterday. Had me really super excited. I'm very stoked currently at this moment in time. Well, we'll just put it this way. So if you're familiar with the Nostradamus tales, and I've mentioned them before, now remember all those books, all those stories, even the Bible, they're just stories, right? They're historical events that took place. Written from a certain perspective, the winners, right? History is always written by the winners. And but anyway, it discusses how man will turn on each other and destroy the earth. And in my videos previously, I've been discussing how that's already happened. We live in a realm of life after death. That's why we go through death cycles here. But what I found very encouraging, and this is what I try to convey to people, okay, the apocalypse is the unveiling, right? The showing, whatever you want to call it. So, for me, I look at the apocalypse as starting when the great sign in heaven took place in 2017, September 23rd, I believe it was, right? So, if you look at the phony forward march that we're doing, you saw that play out, right? There was an election in there that put somebody in charge that nobody really wanted. You see it all playing out. Now there's some channels out there, and I've even talked about this in the past, about World War III isn't coming. There's not going to be a nuclear war. In fact, there's some channels out there even saying that everybody who's got missiles is going to fire them. They just want us all dead. No, we already died once before. And because we are the energy source for the entire universe, it killed the entire universe. Like I said, everything is dead. Are they finding life out there? No. The thing that I found very encouraging was, yes, yesterday, I think it was, 2 days ago, a lot of missiles were launched. Cape Canaveral had its busiest day, what, in like 70 years or something like that, I heard. India even launched a rocket. Now they're telling you that they're this kind of satellite, you know, this, that, and the other, but it's symbolic in that time marker, right? Those missiles that were all launched out of Cape Canaveral, India, China, Russia, all those missiles that were launched yesterday or the day before, in a different reality, probably were packed with something. Nuclear weapons, whatever, that destroyed the earth. That started what you think would be World War III. But in this timeline correction, nobody fired a damn thing of interest that destroyed anything. So, the event took place and we're all still here. Nobody blew up. So if you're, you know, one of those people that watches one of those other channels talking about, you know, nuclear war is imminent, da-da-da-da-da, no, what's imminent is our ascension. That event didn't take place. We didn't destroy the earth this time around. And oddly enough, and again, I know I reference movies and people have a problem with that, it is what it is. But in the Back to the Future movies, got to get the DeLorean up to 88 miles an hour, right? The Lion portal that everybody's talking about, going to happen on the 8th, right? 8/8, 88 miles an hour. I'm not saying it is or isn't going to be our Ascension date. But, you know, in the one video I talked about the Alpha and the Omega timeline and how it had passed. So that was the timeline for war, destruction. Just like, you know, shortly after you had the Johnny Depp trial, right? Had the Apoca show up, the apocalypse. I mentioned that in a different video, pardon me. I'm really excited, and I'm having a hard time I'm keeping my energies not necessarily in check. The energy stemming from my heart is just unbelievable right now. When I got the news yesterday of what I was witnessing with the rocket launches, and I'm watching the timelines that I'm watching, man, I was fired up. I couldn't even go to bed last night until about 5 o'clock this morning. Oh, looky here, growing right here at my feet. A couple of mushrooms tucked away down in there. So like I said, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not a big one. There are certain dates that I watch and I mention this, you know, because I think they do have meaning. And they had meanings, you know, the 6/11 date, a video going back, you know, 4 or 5 months ago now. I was watching that date, and that was the day of the Travis Scott concert with the portal above his stage. So we left the portal on that date. Actually, in reality, that's when we were dumped into the portal. Pardon me. So all these dates that I've been kind of watching have had some significance to the timeline. I just wasn't able to see them. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? So if you go from 2017 forward to this point, you know, we've had a couple of different leaders. You see all the stuff going on. Oh, we're going to run out of food, right? Well, that was the creation of the Hunger Games. Once we were turned into consumers that required food to sustain us, we were easy to control just through the food. If we were bad little boys and girls, they took our food away, right? Created the Hunger Games. Like I said in a previous video, all these civilizations that have been before us that fell out of favor with the gods, they've all been the same gods and not our God. Just saying. So there again, I'm not going to point to a specific time on the calendar because we don't know. What we can know the season. And everyone, even people who I just run into here on the lake and I discuss certain things with, even they recognize the season we're in. They know something bigger is at hand. You see it in all the chat rooms, right? Oh my gosh, Jesus is going to return. Yeah, something's going on. And I'm not saying it is or isn't going to happen on the 8th, but, you know, when I see the ending timeline walk itself right in front of our eyes, it's just got different names attached to it. Like here, I've been looking at the Ukraine. It's potentially symbolic for Israel being surrounded, but that very well could have been Taiwan. Because right after the Pelosi visit, that was in the news too, everywhere. Taiwan is surrounded, right? And then right after that, you've got all the pledges of war. And then right after that, you have all these missiles going off. Well, they never went off, did they? They launched them. Somebody out there fishing, it looks like. So, no nuclear war was started. It's not going to be started. That's just more fear porn. And here's the thing I tell everybody. You know, let's put it this way, how many YouTube channels right now, including the one that says everybody who's got missiles is going to launch them and start a nuclear war, how many of them people that are promoting the fear actually knew, if they actually knew, you know, that we are about to ascend and that it's all a stage for your enjoyment, I guess. But my point is, how many of them would stop making videos and how many of them would lose their subscribers? You know, everybody talks about how the news is fake. And looky down here, even some more mushrooms. Right there. Because, you know, even those prepper channels, oh, you need to stock up on this, you need to stock up on that. The story is, everything was already killed off. This is the redemption, the bringing everything back to the way it was. Because like I said, we didn't use fossil fuels. There's so much about this realm that is not right. But this is what our universe was turned into after we were tampered with. So, if anything of what I've been showing in my videos resonates with anybody, this should really be a bright spot in your day. I know things look bleak out there, and actually to me they don't, because I gave up watching the news. I catch a couple headlines here and there. I still watch news, but I don't do it on the television. There's different places on YouTube that, you know, they'll put what's in the news out there, right? That's half of what they do. You know, they take what's in the news, they put it out there, and they say, okay, this is, you know, we're heading to war, we're doing this, we ain't doing none of that. We're getting the hell out of this cage, is what we're doing. So, and again, I can't say it is or isn't going to happen on the 8/8 day, because here where I live in Missouri, today's the 7th. And it's going to be another hot one. We got up to 107 yesterday. They're saying we're going to do the same today. Is what it is. But at the same time, you know, if man turned on each other and destroyed the earth, that time, when that happened, that stopped everything. Because there wasn't, once something destroyed, there's nothing to move forward on. So, if that's a true timeline correction, where the missiles just went up and nothing came of it and we didn't destroy everything, there's still no more to go after that, right? It just now becomes the void, the corrected void, the nothingness. And there's way more to it than just that, you know. Because the past is always the past. It doesn't matter if it was yesterday or 10,000 years ago. It's just better left there. Let sleeping dogs lie, right? It's about being in the present, moving forward from this point every day. So, again, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, hey, get ready. Big shit's going down on the 8th. Because in some parts of the world, today is the 8th. But I think on the calendar, as the timeline's working out, because you see those people in our government, it's probably based on our calendar date, the 8th. Now, what's going to happen on that date? Hopefully we ascend right out of here. But there could be another event that takes place on the 8th. You know, like when I was looking at 6/11, June 11th. Because that was an inverted 9/11, right? Let's turn the 6 upside down. Switch them around. And something did happen on that date. It was a concert that made the news. Wasn't our Ascension. But at the same time, like I stated in some of my earlier videos, not only do we have to get past the events that took place, but what led up to them. So when you watch from 2017 forward to this day, you see the events. Various, you know, an election was held. Some people feel they were robbed. We had all the gas and everything turned off, all our power, which they can only do it to the fuel lines and the fossil fuels in this realm because that's what we operate on. In real life, it was probably the taking of our natural magnetic energy and free energy source. And then we went straight into the war machine, right? But that didn't happen. Yeah, there's skirmishes, there's this. Because here's the deal, they have to... They're not going to come out and say, hey, here's the date that we're going to ascend, because everything would shut down. No one would feel like they have a need to be doing this anymore. Well, if it's going to end next week, well, why am I doing this? And it really would shut down. In fact, if everybody knew the whole truth, there'd be a lot more bloodshed going on right now, because we'd be attacking every government on this planet to take them out. But that can't happen either, because death and destruction is what got us into this mess. So as the Bible says, everything is as it should be. It's being handled on a bigger scale by somebody far more powerful than I. And there again, those same people who are preaching, yeah, everybody who's got missiles is going to send them off, blah, blah, blah. They're the same ones that don't believe that time can actually be moved in reverse. They'll swear up and down, oh, it's linear, it can only go one way. Really? God can only do one thing. Okay? You're already putting limits on the whole quantum ability to do things. In fact, I challenge those people who think that time is linear to please explain to me then how we supposedly put a man on the moon in '69, but we no longer have that technology today. That's what they're saying, right? We don't have the data to do what we did once before. That's because going backwards through time, 1969 happened a great deal in the future from now. We don't have that ability like they say. That's just one small thing that I can throw in there to make people look and say, you know, could be. Because I don't say anything's 100% fact. There's just too many variables that go into it. But at the same time, there is an ultimate truth to everything. That's why people are looking for it. Some are. So, apart from the sky pictures for today, that's the latest little bit of stuff I've gathered off of the news stations of what's hitting the world and what's driving people's fears. And that's all I can do is just, like everybody says, don't be fearful. We're not going to a world war. We're not going to destroy everything. We're not going to be left in a Hunger Games situation. All that stuff is in the past. The future isn't written. Remember that. All those books, doesn't matter, past events. And half those books are digging up out of the dirt, right? Oh, look, ancient scripture from way back when. Well, that's how long this prison's been in place. And of course, it's buried in the earth. That's what a mud flood does, is buries everything. Everything goes back to the earth. Nothing new under the sun. It was here once before, it's here today. So the one thing I want to leave everybody with is chin up. Like I said, I was just super excited last night when I saw that everybody was launching rockets for one reason or another, because we've reached that point in the timeline, and that 8/8 portal's right around the corner. So I'm really, truly hopeful that this will be my last ever YouTube video. Because all this that you see, this life you've lived, previous lives, your parents, all of it, everything about this realm is going to become the greatest Mandela effect at all. Once it ceases to exist, that's why people can't remember their past lives. When you tune a radio station from one station to the other, you don't pick up on that previous radio station you were on. It's still going somewhere. It just doesn't exist where you're listening right then and there. That's how our bodies work. When you raise your vibration, you tune into a different layer of living, understanding, whatever you want to call it, and you don't hear the noise from the other stations anymore. So all those past events have been buried in its own little mud flood of that time and when we left. They're not important anymore. Has nothing to do with the present or the future. Just like this realm, when we leave this realm, all the stuff from this realm will be dead and buried, just like we were a long time ago. And chances are we won't remember any of this. It'll just we'll just know we're not here anymore. And we may not even remember the fact of here to know that we're not here. It could just be, you know, when we flip and go back to how things were, we'll just either, one, pick up our lives where they were left off at that point before this madness happened. But see, that may not be the case either, because that timeline was already altered in some fashion. Even if we're going backwards through time to correct everything. So it may be a new positive timeline of who we are, but it might also be in its own different fashion because of what took place. I don't know, because there again, the future's not written, right? Nobody knows the future. And that's the problem with expectations. Do I expect to leave here in the next 24 to 48 hours? I don't know. I don't expect anything. I wake up every day and I'm thankful for the life that I have. I go to bed every night the same way. Thankful for the life that I've had, that I've lived. Thankful for everyone that's been involved in it, good and bad. I'm especially thankful for the bad that did take place in my childhood, because it forced me as a very young person to separate myself from mom and dad energetically, and to go out in the world and seek with my 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old eyes that I had. Got my finger in the way. And I noticed that with a lot of people who are on a similar path as me. Most people took some kind of trauma in their early years, and I'm thankful that I got out of it, because, you know, not everyone gets out of drug addiction, not everyone gets out of alcohol abuse. Some people succumb to the physical abuse they took as a child, and they carry that with them their whole life as a form of depression, right? You know these people. So that's why I don't even sit here and carry on arguments with those people. It's not worth the time. You just ignore them. There's an old expression: if you ignore something long enough, it will go away. And that is incredibly true. I ignore the past on a daily basis, but I'm incredibly thankful for it. It didn't feel very thankful at the time, but it's serving its purpose later down the road. Like everything in our life, it's supposed to serve a purpose to open our eyes. So again, I just want to leave everybody with, you know, chin up. You know, I was out here partying, dancing in the dark at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, everybody should just be firing up their own little block party right now. Live in the moment. Because even if we're all still here come the 9th, the way the timelines are running out, there can't be that many of them left to go. There was only so many timelines that we could correct. And that's why the number of man is 6. We were the first in this mess because of who we are. We were attacked first and taken out. Everybody else followed. So we're going to be the last ones to leave. Because we were the first in, the first will be last, right? Last will be first. So I see nothing but positive, good things on the horizon, period. And that's just my perspective, and nobody can take that from me, correct? Just like nobody can take your perspective from you. Because everybody has their own piece to the puzzle here. We all come from the same place. And those may not look like real clouds, what we remember in our youth. But it is what it is. I say it all the time, right? So I just wanted to come on here real quick, show you some scenery, give you my latest take on what I see happening in the timelines, how they're running together, the events that took place. And hold on, buckle up. Hopefully this is exactly what everybody's been waiting for their whole life, is to be truly free. You know, again, if you're running out working a job to meet all these wants in your life, that's not true freedom. True freedom is doing something because you want to. Money is the root of all evil, right? Now people will tell you it's the love of money. Well, yeah, that's part of it. But the bigger part of that picture is we never did anything for money originally. We did it because we loved doing it. We did it because it would benefit our fellow man or woman. We didn't do things just to benefit self. Which is what this realm is, what we were turned into. As above, so below. We were turned into this. And eventually it was destroyed. But now we've reached that point where it's no longer part of the deal. Because like I said, you know, the people involved in this with us, it's not just us. You know, I don't think they are eternal. Some of them very well could be. I'm not sure how any of that works out because the future isn't written, right? I just know we are the eternal beings and we provide the energy for the whole universe. And when I say we, that's you, me, and our original mom and dad. Not these stand-ins. So, you can even look at it as like, you know, we're a giant orphanage that lost its parents and we're about to be reunited. If you look at it that way, and you see potentially how much joy that could bring to just millions of beings, to everything being put straight and be done with these systems, that's what I'm focused on. That's where my joy right now lies. It lies in the present and the beauty out here. It lied in the present yesterday when I watched all the missiles go up. I was really joyful. Really, really, really joyful. I can't even express because words limit it. But then I've always seen things through a different set of eyes. So anyway, I'll try this once again. Y'all have a wonderful day. And, you know, I think the orphanage is about to be reunited. My opinion. And that just puts so much peace and joy in me, it's ridiculous. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And if we do flip soon, chances are we may not remember each other, but we might. You know, people are in our lives today because at some point they were more than likely in our lives in the past. Nothing new under the sun, right? So all of us that are even connected via these devices, who have carried on loving conversations and understand one another, and we're trying to do the best that we can, and our heart space is right, chances are we will all see each other again. It won't be a straight up recognition more than likely, or maybe it will be. Again, I don't know, the future isn't written. But I do believe everything happens for a reason. I gave up believing in coincidence a long time ago, as most of you have. So, again, positive love, vibes. Like I said, I can't tell you how ecstatic I am currently. It's just amazing. The time we're alive in, truly amazing. Truly, truly amazing. All right, I love you all. Have a great, blessed day. Bye-bye.